The night sky burns. The desert research station had always been quiet. But tonight felt different. Dr. Elena Vasquez pressed her face against the laboratory window, watching strange lights streak across the Nevada sky. Her coffee grew cold as she tracked the burning object's descent toward the mountains. Meteor shower wasn't supposed to happen until next month, she muttered, adjusting her glasses. Elena had been studying extremophile bacteria for 3 years at this isolated facility, but nothing had prepared her for what was about to change her life forever. The impact shook the entire building. Books tumbled from shelves and her carefully organized specimens scattered across the floor. Through the reinforced windows, she could see an orange glow emanating from behind the rocky outcropping. 2 miles north, Elena grabbed her emergency kit and truck keys. As the station's only biologist, she had a responsibility to investigate potential contamination. At least that's what she told herself as curiosity drove her into the night. First contact, the crash site took her breath away. A sleek crystalline vessel had carved a smoking crater into the mountainside. The ship's surface seemed to shift between silver and deep blue, like oil on water. No human technology looked anything like this. Elena approached cautiously, her radiation detector clicking steadily, but not dangerously. The ship's hull had cracked open, revealing a soft, pulsing interior that reminded her of living tissue. Steam rose from the opening, carrying an oddly sweet scent. That's when she saw him. The being inside was definitely not human, yet undeniably humanoid. Tall and lean, with skin that held a subtle luminescence. His features were angular but elegant, with high cheekbones and a strong jaw. Most striking were his eyes, large almond-shaped, and a deep violet that seemed to hold starlight. He was injured. Dark fluid, presumably blood, seeped from wounds across his torso and arms. His breathing was labored, each breath a struggle. Choice Elena's scientific mind screamed warnings about contamination, unknown pathogens, and protocol violations. But her human heart saw only suffering. She checked her equipment one more time, then climbed into the vessel. Up close. She could see he was beautiful in an otherworldly way. His skin felt warm beneath her gloved hands as she checked his pulse. Different rhythm, stronger than human, but definitely alive. When she touched his forehead, his eyes fluttered open. The moment their gazes met, something passed between them. Recognition? Impossible. Yet Elena felt as though she was looking into the eyes of someone she had always known. He tried to speak, but only managed a soft, musical sound that somehow conveyed gratitude. "I'm going to help you," she whispered, not knowing if he understood. But when he relaxed slightly at the sound of her voice, she felt certain he did. Secret. Sanctuary getting him back to the laboratory proved challenging. He was heavier than expected, and semi-conscious at best. Elena managed to load him into her truck, using a combination of determination and adrenaline. Back at the station, she cleared her largest examination room and sealed the doors. Whatever happened next would have to remain secret until she understood more. Elena began treating his wounds with antiseptic and bandages, amazed at how quickly his alien physiology responded to basic human medical care as she worked. She found herself studying his face. Even unconscious, he possessed a regal quality. His hair was dark with silver streaks, and when her fingers accidentally brushed against it, she discovered it was surprisingly soft. "What are you?" she murmured, documenting his vital signs. "And why do I feel like I've been waiting my whole life to find you?" The alien stirred at her voice, his hand moving slightly toward hers. Elena hesitated only a moment before taking his hand in both of hers. His fingers were longer than human fingers. They fit perfectly with hers. Outside, the desert wind howled, but inside her laboratory, Elena felt as though the universe had shifted. Whatever this being was, wherever he had come from, she knew. Her life would never be the same. Healing touch wakening 3 days passed before the alien fully regained consciousness. Elena had barely left his side, monitoring his recovery with growing fascination. His wounds healed at a remarkable rate, and his body temperature, it stabilized to slightly warmer than human normal. She was checking his bandages when his eyes opened fully for the first time. The violet depths focused on her face with startling intensity. This time he spoke clearly. "Kale," he said, touching his chest with one long finger. His voice was deep and melodious, with an accent unlike anything Alina had ever heard. "Your name is Kale?" she asked, pointing at him. "What?" When he nodded, she touched her own chest. "Alina." "Alina," he repeated, the syllables rolling off his tongue like music. The way he said her name sent an unexpected warmth through her chest. Learning. To communicate over the following days, they developed their own language of gestures, drawings, and simple words. Kale was remarkably intelligent, picking up English concepts with surprising speed. Lena learned that he came from a star system called Xyler. Many light years away, during one of their communication sessions, Kale grew agitated while trying to explain something. Elena watched his frustration build until, finally, he reached out and gently placed his palm against her temple. Suddenly, Elena's mind filled with images and emotions not her own. She saw vast space battles, ships fleeing through asteroid fields, and Kale's desperate escape from some terrible conflict. The connection lasted only seconds, but left her breathless. "You can share memories," she whispered, staring at him in wonder. Kale nodded sadly, then touched his heart and pointed to the stars visible through the window. Alina understood. He was homesick, and possibly could never return. Growing closer, as Kale's strength returned, their relationship deepened beyond mere doctor and patient. He helped her with her research, his alien perspective providing insights. That revolutionized her understanding of extremophile bacteria. His species, he explained through their mental connection, had encountered similar organisms across the galaxy. Alina found herself looking forward to their evening conversations. Kale was gentle and thoughtful, with a dry sense of humor that surprised her. When he laughed at her jokes, his whole face lit up, making her heart skip. One evening, while they worked side by side in the laboratory, Lena accidentally knocked over a container of specimens. As she bent to clean up the mess, Kale knelt beside her to help. Their hands touched as they reached for the same glass slide, and both froze. The simple contact sent electricity up Elena's arm. Kale's eyes met hers, and she saw her own attraction, reflected in their violet depths. Slowly, carefully, he lifted his free hand to touch her cheek. "Alina," he whispered, and in that single word, she heard longing, gratitude, and something deeper. Dangerous feelings. Alina knew she was falling for him, and the realization terrified her. Kale wasn't just from another culture or country, he was from another world. Their species had never even known of each other's existence until a few days ago. Yet when he looked at her, she felt more understood than she ever had with any human. Their mental connection had grown stronger, allowing them to share not just memories, but emotions. Alina could feel his loneliness, his wonder at her kindness, and underneath it all, his growing affection for her. Dr. Marcus Webb, her colleague, began asking questions about her recent behavior. Alina made excuses about working on a new project, but she knew her secret couldn't last forever. That night, she sat beside Kale's bed reading. She felt his hand cover hers. When she looked up, his expression was serious. Through their connection, he showed her images of his homeworld crystal cities reaching toward purple skies, beings like himself living in harmony with their environment. Then he showed her his ship, damaged beyond repair, and his understanding that he might never see home again. "I'm sorry," Alina whispered. Though she wasn't entirely sure what she was apologizing for, Kale shook his head and used their mental link to share one more image, Alina herself, as he saw her. In his mind, she was beautiful, brilliant, and brave. She was hope in his darkness, and increasingly, she was becoming his new definition of home. Elena's heart raced as she realized the depth of his feelings matched her own. Whatever the consequences, whatever the complications, she was falling in love with an alien, and he was falling in love with her. Unwelcome visitors. Elena's world shattered the morning she detected 3 new objects entering Earth's atmosphere. Unlike Kale's damaged vessel, these ships moved with predatory precision. Their trajectories calculated to create a search pattern over the southwestern United States. "They found me," Kale said grimly, his usual gentle demeanor replaced by warrior alertness. Through their mental bond, Alina felt his fear not for himself, but for her. The approaching ships belonged to Xylorian bounty hunters, Kale explained. His escape from the Galactic War had made him a valuable target. The hunters, led by a ruthless female named Zara, would stop at nothing to drag him back to face execution. "We have to run," Alina said, already moving to pack essential supplies. She couldn't bear the thought of losing him now. It's not when she had just discovered what love truly meant. Into the wilderness, they fled into the desert mountains in Elena's modified research vehicle, leaving the laboratory behind along with her. Old life. Kale's ship had contained emergency supplies, including translation devices that finally allowed them to speak freely without the mental connection. "You shouldn't have come with me," Kale said as they drove through the rocky terrain. "Your people won't understand. My people will see you as a threat." Alina gripped the steering wheel tighter. "I'm not leaving you to face this alone." Through the bond they shared, she felt his gratitude mixed with anguish. Kale had spent years as a warrior, protecting others, being protected by someone he cared about was foreign territory. They found shelter in an abandoned mining cave as the sun set, using Kale's alien technology. They masked their heat signatures from the hunter's sensors. In the dim light of his portable equipment, Alina watched him prepare weapons she didn't recognize. First night together, as they settled in for what might be their last night of freedom, the weight of their situation pressed down on them. Alina sat beside Kale on their makeshift bedding, acutely aware of his presence in the small space. "Tell me about your life before the war," she asked, wanting to know everything about him while she still could. Kale's expression softened. He described a peaceful world where his people lived in harmony with crystalline forests and floating cities. He had been a healer and scholar before becoming a soldier, someone who preferred growing things to destroying them. "I was alone there too," he admitted. "My species doesn't bond the way yours does. We have reproductive partnerships arranged for genetic compatibility, but not ... This," he gestured between them, struggling to find words for their connection. Alina reached out and took his hand. "What is this, exactly?" "I don't know," Kale replied honestly. "But I've never felt anything like it. When I touch you, when we share thoughts, it's like finding a part of myself I didn't know was missing." The cave felt smaller, suddenly intimate. Alina found herself studying the sharp angles of his face, the way his silver-streaked hair fell across his forehead. When he turned to meet her gaze, she saw her own desire reflected in his violet eyes. "Crossing the line, Alina," Kale whispered, his voice rough with emotion. "We may not survive tomorrow." She nodded, understanding flowing between them without words. If they were going to die, she wanted to know what it felt like to truly be his. Kale cupped her face in his hands, his touch gentle despite the dangers surrounding them. "Are you certain?" Instead of answering with words, Alina closed the distance. Between them, their first kiss was soft, hesitant, a question and an answer all at once. Kale's lips were warmer than human lips, and when he deepened the kiss, Alina tasted something sweet and exotic. They moved together slowly, learning each other's bodies with wonder and reverence. Kale's skin seemed to glow faintly in the darkness, and Alina marveled at the play of muscles beneath his luminescent surface. When he touched her, she felt not just physical pleasure, but emotional resonance through their bond. A new understanding afterward. They lay entwined on their simple bedding, Elena's head on Kale's chest. She could hear his heart beating in its different rhythm, steady and strong. Through their connection, she felt his amazement at what they had shared. "In all my studies of different species," Kale murmured, stroking her hair, "I never imagined anything like this was possible." Alina traced patterns on his chest with her fingertip, watching how his skin responded to her touch with subtle changes in luminescence. "Maybe that's why you crashed here. Maybe the universe wanted us to find each other." Kale tilted her chin up to meet his eyes. "Then I would crash 1,000 times to end up here with you." Outside their cave, the desert wind carried the distant sound of ships in the atmosphere. The hunters were getting closer. But inside their sanctuary, Alina and Kale had found something worth fighting for. A love that transcended the boundaries between worlds. Morning hunt dawn brought the sound of approaching hover cycles. Alina and Kale packed quickly, but they both knew the hunters were closing in. Through gaps in the cave entrance, they could see sleek alien vehicles scouring the mountainside. Kale pointed to a figure standing on a distant ridge. Even at this distance, Alina could see the hunter's predatory stance. That's Zara. She won't give up until she has me. Alina studied the alien female through binoculars. Zara was tall and imposing, with the same luminescent skin as Kale, but darker, more threatening. Her armor gleamed in the morning sun, and she carried weapons that looked disturbingly efficient. "She's beautiful," Alina said, then immediately felt foolish for the observation. "And deadly," Kale replied grimly. "We were involved before the war. Her pursuit of me is personal now." Underground refuge, they managed to reach a deeper cave system before the hunters spotted them. The ancient passages wound deep into the mountain, carved by water over millennia. Kale's night vision, superior to Elena's, guided them through the darkness. Hours of crawling through narrow spaces brought them to a vast underground chamber. Elena's flashlight revealed walls covered in Native American petroglyphs. Humans had sheltered here centuries ago, just as she and Kale did now. "Your ancestors knew about hiding from those who would harm them," Kale observed, studying the ancient drawings. Alina set up their small camp in a corner of the chamber, using Kale's alien technology to mask their signatures from the hunters. Scanners. The stress of constant flight had exhausted them both. But being alone together in the profound silence of the deep cave created an unexpected intimacy. Deeper connectioners, they shared their meager rations. Alina noticed Kale seemed troubled beyond their immediate danger. Through their mental bond, she sensed an inner conflict he hadn't shared. "What aren't you telling me?" she asked gently. Kale hesitated, then opened his mind to her completely. Alina gasped as she experienced his memories directly, not just images this time, but full sensory experiences. She felt what it was like to soar through Xylorian skies, to fight in desperate space battles, to watch friends die in the war. But more than that, she experienced his transformation since meeting her. Through his alien perspective, she felt how her kindness had healed wounds in his spirit that no medical treatment could touch. She saw herself as he saw her, not just beautiful, but radiant with compassion and strength. "I was dying inside before I found you," Kale whispered. "Not from my injuries, but from losing hope. You gave me a reason to live again." Intimate revelations. Elena's response was to deepen their physical connection. In the safety of their hidden chamber, they made love with a desperation born of uncertainty about their future. Kale's alien physiology brought new sensations, new ways of experiencing pleasure that left Alina breathless with wonder. But it was their mental connection that made their physical intimacy transcendent. Alina could feel Kale's pleasure as her own could sense his love for her in ways that went beyond human understanding. When he touched her, she experienced it from his perspective as well as her own. "Is this how your people always connect?" she gasped against his neck. "Never," Kale replied, his voice strained with emotion. "This is beyond anything in our culture. You're changing me, Alina, changing what I thought was possible." Their coupling became a conversation conducted in touches, sighs, and shared sensation. Alina discovered that Kale's luminescent skin responded to emotional intensity, growing brighter. As their passion increased in the darkness of the cave, they became their own constellation. The outside world intrudes there. Peaceful interlude shattered when Alina's satellite phone rang. Dr. Marcus Webb's panicked voice filled the chamber. "Alina, where are you?" "The military is here, asking about alien contact. They know something happened at the station." Elena's blood ran cold. Earth's governments had detected the alien ships. Soon both human and Xylorian forces would be hunting them. "We have to reach the coast," Alina said after ending the call. "I have a friend with a boat. Maybe he can disappear for a while." Kale nodded, but through their bond, Alina felt his resignation. He was a warrior, tired of running. Part of him wanted to face Zara and end this chase, regardless of the consequences. "Don't you dare sacrifice yourself for me," Alina said fiercely. "We're in this together." Kale pulled her close, his arms strong around her. "Together, then. Whatever comes, we face it together." New allies as they prepared to leave their sanctuary, Kale's communication device crackled to life. A voice spoke in his alien language, and Alina watched his expression change to surprise, then hope. "What is it?" she asked. "Rebels," Kale explained, others who refused to participate in the war. "They've been hiding in Earth's asteroid belt, and they've detected Zara's hunting party." The rebel leader, Captain Nova, offered assistance. People had been watching Earth, impressed by humanity's potential. They were willing to help Kale and Alina escape, but only if Alina could prove that human-Zalorian cooperation was truly possible. Alina looked at Kale, seeing her own determination reflected in his violet eyes. They had already proven that love could bridge the gap between worlds. Now they would have to prove it to the universe. The final gambit, Captain Nova's rebel ship, descended through Earth's atmosphere like a falling star, its alien design drawing immediate attention from both the hunters and human military forces. Alina and Kale raced across the desert toward the rendezvous point, their love tested by approaching danger from all sides. 3 minutes until the ship reaches us, Kale reported, monitoring his communication device. Behind them, the sound of pursuit grew louder. Zara had found their trail, and human aircraft were converging on the area. Alina pushed their vehicle to its limits, dodging between rock formations as alien energy weapons scorched the ground around them. Through their mental bond, she felt Kale's anguish at putting her in such danger. "No regrets," she said firmly, reading his thoughts. "Whatever happens, I choose this. I choose you." Confrontation, they reached the landing zone just as Captain Nova's ship touched down. The rebel leader emerged, a tall, elegant Zalorian with silver skin and eyes like molten gold. Alina could see immediately why Nova had survived as a rebel commander. She radiated both wisdom and deadly competence. "So you're the human who has captured our warrior's heart," Nova said, her English perfect but accented with musical tones. "Impressive? Were you expecting someone different?" Alina asked, trying to project confidence despite the chaos surrounding them. "I expected someone ordinary," Nova replied with a slight smile. "Instead, I see someone extraordinary enough to change the course of galactic history." Before Alina could respond, Zara's hunters crested the ridge, weapons trained on the group. The bounty hunter looked even more formidable up close, her dark armor gleaming with built-in weapon systems. "Choices of the heart, Kale," Zara called out, her voice carrying easily across the distance. "You cannot run forever. Submit now, and I will allow the human to live." Alina felt Kale tense beside her, his warrior instincts warring with his protective love. Through their bond, she sensed him preparing to surrender to save her life. "Don't," Alina whispered fiercely. "We fight together or not at all." Captain Nova stepped forward, addressing Zara in their alien language. Alina couldn't understand the words, but the tone was clearly diplomatic. Nova was trying to negotiate. "The rebellion offers you sanctuary," Nova translated for Alina's benefit. "But only if you can prove that human-Zalorian bonding is beneficial to both species." Zara's response was a derisive laugh. "One human cannot speak for an entire species.
This
aberration proves nothing." The test of unity, what happened next, surprised everyone. Alina stepped forward, placing herself between the opposing factions. She had no weapons, no special powers, except her love for Kale and her faith in what they had discovered together. "You're wrong," Alina said, her voice carrying across the desert. "This isn't an aberration, it's evolution." She opened her mind completely to Kale, allowing their mental connection to flow at full strength. The result was visible to all the Zylorians present. Elena's eyes began to glow with the same inner light as Kale's, and the air around them shimmered with shared energy. "Look," Alina continued, her consciousness expanded by the connection. "See what we see, feel what we feel." Through Kale, she projected their shared memories to every Zylorian present. The hunters and rebels alike experienced the wonder of true connection, the healing that came from perfect understanding between two beings from different worlds. Transformation. Zara lowered her weapon first, her expression stunned. Through the projection, she had experienced something her warrior culture had never allowed her to understand: love without conquest, strength through vulnerability, unity through difference. "This is impossible," she whispered. "No," Captain Nova said. Softly, her own eyes bright with unshed tears. This is the future. The human aircraft had arrived, circling overhead but not yet attacking. Alina realized that her connection with Kale was still active, still broadcasting their bond to anyone sensitive enough to receive it. Some of the human pilots were pulling back, apparently affected by what they were sensing. New beginnings. In the end, the choice was simple. Alina and Kale could return to their separate worlds, treasuring their brief love as a beautiful impossibility. Or they could take the leap into the unknown, trusting that love was stronger than the barriers between species. Come with us, Captain, Nova offered. The rebellion needs what you two have discovered. Help us build a future where Xylorians and humans can learn from each other instead of fearing each other. Alina looked at Kale, seeing her own decision reflected in his violet eyes. Earth had been her home, her career, her entire life. But Kale had become something more essential. He was her heart, her future, her definition of home, redefined by love. Together, she said, taking his hand as they boarded Nova's ship. Alina felt the pull of Earth's gravity releasing her. Through the viewport, she watched her home planet fall away, growing smaller until it was just another point of light among the stars. But she wasn't sad. In Kale's arms, surrounded by aliens who had become allies, Alina knew she was flying toward something incredible. Their love had already changed them both, had altered the course of galactic politics, had proven that the universe was far more connected than anyone had imagined. Forever among stars, the ship jumped to hyperspace, carrying them toward a future. Written in starlight and possibility, Alina and Kale's love story had become something larger than themselves. It was now the first chapter in a new era of cosmic understanding. In the ship's observation deck, Alina and Kale stood together, watching galaxies wheel past in impossible colors. Through their bond, she felt his wonder at her courage, his love for her strength, his joy at their shared future among the stars. No regrets? Kale asked, echoing her earlier words. Alina smiled, her eyes reflecting the light of distant suns. Only that we didn't find each other sooner. Their kiss was witnessed by the universe itself, a promise that love truly could transcend any boundary, even the vast distances between worlds.